Now to a CBS4 News exclusive. We're speaking one-on-one with the former governor and current candidate for governor, Charlie Crist.
It's his first interview since announcing his candidacy yesterday. So why does he want the job, and what does he plan to do if he gets it? Jim DeFede spoke to Crist and has more.
You've talked a lot about some of the decisions that Governor Ron DeSantis has made. Let me talk about one as it relates to COVID and see if you think the governor deserves some credit for this. He advocated and shut down nursing homes and ALFs early. This was something that he did that other states, other governors, such as in New York and in California, did not do. And as a result, we did not see the high death tolls among the folks in nursing homes and ALFs that other states did. Does he not deserve credit? Was the governor not right in what he did there?
Let's look at the overall picture. If we're going to talk about the COVID thing, let's talk about the COVID thing. How many Floridians have died? I think your viewers probably know it's now over 36,000 of our fellow Floridians are dead because of this pandemic. And that's horrific, and it's sad, and it's tragic. We have one of the highest rates of people that have been, infected with this disease. It's terrible. And, he goes around the state, and Jim, I know he's doing this. He's pounding his chest and saying what a great thing I've done. I've opened everything and everything is good. Ask one of the members of those families, of those 36,000 Floridians that aren't with us anymore. And as I said yesterday when we opened, what if the governor would have led and said, you need to have a plan to be ready for this thing? He never did. I mean, it was, every day it was a shifting move one way or the other. He never said it's the right thing for everybody to wear a mask. That never really happened. He didn't advocate social distancing.
But do you give him credit on his handling of the nursing homes and the ALFs? Do you think that he was right on that decision?
Maybe so. I mean, it's good to get a couple of things right, but it's better to do more right.
He wants to frame this election as being, he's going to run against you, claiming that you want to shut things down, you want to close businesses, and that he's the guy who opened them up and allowed them to reopen. How do you cast that race then?
I think you have to hit the sweet spot on decisions like this. You have to do what's right. And it's not, opening everything up, and it's not closing everything down. It's somewhere in the middle with good science giving you direction, relying on people that are healthcare professionals, telling you what is the right thing to do. It's not black or white. It's a little more complicated than that. And so, I don't think it's important that you decide you're going to open everything up or close everything down. You got to do what's right and being guided by scientists and people who know what they're telling you to do. And that's probably somewhere in the middle.
If you are elected governor, you will likely still have a very Republican state House and a very Republican state Senate, which means they will pass bills that will land on your desk, very similar to the types of bills that we saw passed, in this current session. So let me ask you, if you were governor today and the transgender ban bill hit your desk, what would you do to it?
Veto it. Are you kidding me? That is so cruel to children who just want to participate in sports. I mean, I can't believe that's something they think is important enough to put in through the Florida House, the Florida Senate, to the governor's desk. And I guess he said he's going to sign it. That's unconscionable to me. I mean, really, that's what they're focused on? Are you kidding me? We're talking about people's personal lives. They're supposed to be the party that's supposed to get out of your personal lives and let you live free. They're doing exactly the opposite. They're almost like the anti-democracy party, making it harder to vote, suppressing the vote with the mail-in ballot thing they're trying to do, getting people away from their Constitution by making it harder if you amend it. And even if you do amend it, they'll ignore you. What happened to of the people, by the people, for the people? They're not the party for the people. They're not fighting for us. They're ignoring the people.
So let's talk about, you mentioned it earlier, the Medicaid expansion. 800,000 Floridians could potentially be helped with the expansion of Medicaid by taking the federal dollars. This is something that the Florida legislature and the governor have passed on for years. What could you do as governor that would be able to bring that about? Can you unilaterally start accepting that money, or you have to still work through the legislature, I would assume, to accept those dollars, wouldn't you?
I think you try to take it unilaterally first by executive order. I think that's fully appropriate. Obviously, the people of Florida need it. I mean, it's unconscionable to me, Jim. I remember going to an opening of an office in Miami when I had run for governor previously, and one gentleman was there in a wheelchair. And I went up to him after the event was over, and I just got on my knee and I said, I'm just curious why you're here. He said, I'm here to support you to win because I know you'll support expanding Medicaid in our state. That means I'm going to get health care if you happen to win this election. I have not forgotten that, and I will not forget that, young man. And it's important that we do that. So if it's by executive order or legislative fiat, whatever it takes, it has to be done. Because, we're all children of God. And to not have that kind of empathy and compassion, the kind Joe Biden shows every day, if you're governor of Florida, for the citizens of our state of 22 million people, you shouldn't be in the office. It's wrong. It's wrong.
Do you believe Ron DeSantis is an uncaring individual?
Sure looks like it. It pains me to say that. I would never want any governor of Florida to be an uncaring person. But, don't judge him by his words, judge him by his actions. He's not taking the money for those 800,000 poor people, and it's offered by the federal government that I work in right now. We just sent him $3.5 billion to do it again, and he's not doing it.
You can see more of Jim DeFede's interview with Charlie Crist this Sunday on Facing South Florida.